Alright, response video to Joe on this, I guess it's just going to be limited to fractional reserve banking and the Federal Reserve. And I guess the gold standard, because that's the same thing, I suppose. So anyway, so apparently that's what we have to argue about. And you put the challenge to me. Did I go to your website? Yeah, I went to your website. Okay, that's the folk. You're doing the Ron Paul thing or whatever. Okay, it's the bankers and the Fed who have manipulated us and stolen all our money, and it has nothing to do with the accumulation of wealth in any honest manner. Through the exploitation of ownership of everything. All capital production. But anyway, we'll save that argument for later. Yeah, and my argument is that we, not that the world's going to go into some kind of debate. No, that we should debate this crap. All right, put our theories on the table and have them fight. All right, have a real good argument about this crap, because it's kind of important. Because you're not going to win without me, and I'm not going to win without you. That's just a fact. All right, you think you're going to change something without changing my mind? No, it's not going to happen. You've got to change minds like mine. And I got to change minds like yours. And we got to concede that fucking point. That the only way we're going to win against them is that we've got to be a focused community of people. We've got to be a political force. And no, I'm not gonna be a political force for Ron Paul loony crackpot shit. Let's get rid of the IRS. Are you for that one too? I mean, come on. So yeah, I'll make my argument to you why I think it's completely irrelevant. I mean, fractional reserve banking is not the problem, and not having a gold standard. I mean, the gold standard would be a disaster. Let's just say, okay, let's say we had a gold standard. Countries like India, they have a ton of gold, not in the bank, but around people's necks. A ton of it. And if things got desperate and they finally got over their religious mumbo-jumbo, they could flood the market with that gold. And all of a sudden our currency would be completely devalued. Our economy would be ruined. I mean, it'd just be crazy to lock the dollar on a commodity, especially a commodity where tomorrow we could find out a synthetic way to create gold. We could definitely find ways of, there's definitely going to be creative people who are going to find ways to try to counterfeit the gold that exists, pollute it with other elements, other atoms. And as if every atom is going to have such a high value on it, it's going to be really important if somebody's filing that gold down a little or throwing a little cobalt in there or something else. And now you're going to have a whole industries who are just going to find out what gold is real gold. I mean, it would just be a waste. It'd be stupid. The currency we have now is basically a basket of commodities that it's based on, and that's functional. I think it should be more explicit. I mean, I think the government should have more explicit and open compensation. It should name 10 things that it's going to base the dollar on, and then it should make up the difference. I mean, if some commodity goes down in price, it should elevate the price back up. And if it's a long-term loser, if it just keeps losing value over every year, well, then sooner or later you just dump it from the index, dump it from the basket. But anyway, it's a whole other subject. I don't want to get into all that crap. So let's get on the fractional reserve banking thing. And you asked me the question, well, why do you think everything would have to be double collateralized? Well, you explain to me how banking works when you can't accept as an asset any asset but gold. So how exactly does somebody buy a house? All right, the bank can't just give the gold to the guy who has the house, okay, and put the house in the bank. They can't do that anymore, right? Because they can only accept gold as collateral. So somebody else has to take their gold and say, I will secure that loan. I will secure the value of that house. So I will give you my gold, guaranteeing the value of that house. All right, so then the gold can go in the bank. The deed for the house can go to the guy that gave the bank the gold. So now you need two players for every loan. And so now you're going to have two people you got to pay interest to. Because the guy who's accepting the liability of the house going down in value, he's got to get paid for taking his risk, because he's a risk taker. And then the bank giving the money to the guy to loan, he's a risk taker, so he wants his friggin' cut. So what the hell? I mean, how do we win in that scenario? How does that do me any good? All I see it doing good to is the people lending money. I don't see it doing the people borrowing money any favors. It's a big, huge, giant ripoff. There's no functional bank. Look, banks, like I said, were originally started just as a place to hide your money, a place to keep it from somebody robbing you. All right? But it can't function as a place to make money, to invest money. Who the hell's going to put their money in the modern day in a bank if it doesn't pay any interest? Why the hell would I do that? I don't trust those assholes. I'd be better off hiding it in my fucking yard. If I'm getting zero interest because they can't lend the money to anybody, what the hell's the fucking point? So I mean, I don't even see why you call that a bank. So until you explain how somebody buys a house when you have non-fractional reserve banking, and every loan is 100% collateralized. I mean, every loan is 100% backed by gold. Yeah, I don't see how that works to anyone's advantage except the people who own the gold and the properties. They win. The borrowers lose big time. All right. And the other one's the Federal Reserve. Again, the Federal Reserve is, it's not a complete open book, but the books are there. All right. They haven't just printed a bunch of money and stole a huge profit off it or any of that kind of crap. I mean, it's just not there. The facts aren't there. There's a certain amount of currency in circulation. They put it there, and they put it there through a mechanism that has a money trail. All right, and ultimately it is tied to some sort of asset. But the point is, too, is that the money, printed money, the things the Fed controls, isn't the only currency in the world. There's all these stock certificates and bonds and all this other stuff that's just as valuable as real money. That's just as valuable that's a trading certificate. I mean, if I have a bond that basically is guaranteed based on the value of money. So let's just say you have your gold system, or we have a fractional. It doesn't matter, any kind of money system. If I have a contract, and the contract says this is $50 million in IBM's bond money, and it will pay this amount on this date, guaranteed. I mean, there's just I don't lose unless IBM goes bankrupt. That's the only way I don't get paid. It's a darn piece of good paper. So that's going to be traded in the economy. And why wouldn't, I mean, you're just going to give people incentive to create all kinds of little weird banks, little banks on their own. Why would if I have to go to a bank where everything's double collateralized, why wouldn't I go to a loan shark instead? Because I might get a better rate. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. This is not, it's not how the rich got richer. It's not going to make regular poor citizens, regular workers, more powerful. This does nothing, and it's certainly not going to stop the wealthy from getting wealthier. So until you explain how the wealthier don't get wealthier with your system, they're still going to be making tons of contracts where they're going to be renting their assets to somebody else, where they're going to be making interest. There's still going to be lots of paper out there with signatures on it and making agreements. And so it just doesn't. How is not having fractional reserve banking going to stop any of that? So yeah, until you explain that, you're not going to sell me that either one of these things, killing the Fed or getting rid of fractional reserve banking, is going to do a damn thing either to fix the problem, or it's not. At first, it's not going to fix the hole we're in. It's not going to fill the hole, and it's not going to prevent a hole from being created tomorrow. Even if you could fill the hole because you're going to add something else, I don't know what you're going to pay the debt off with, but regardless, let's just say we switched to your system and didn't pay off the debt. What are you going to do? How in the future would this the same holes not be created? So anyway, enough said, I guess. Yeah, but really, we have to do this arguing thing. So you don't want to do the arguing thing? Fine, whatever. But yeah, I looked at your stuff. I don't think you looked at my videos, to tell you the truth. You don't sound like you did. So I'll just throw the same thing back at you. So what, you think you're on the superior side because you can name Milton Friedman, who's a bum. He actually thinks that cutting taxes pays for itself. I could go down your whole list of your laureates and your brainiacs who think they know what they're talking about, and they're all full of crap. David Stockman was a respected analyst. He was full of shit. So come on, whatever. I mean, you want to just name drop on me? Well, hell, that ain't going to sell. You got to make an argument. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, until next time.